coverage on your home, farm, and auto. See the girls at the insurance agency at 1020 Main in Goodland or call 785-899-5011.
Goodland's Rocket 1025 is your home for Goodland High School athletics. From touchdowns and three-pointers to home runs, Ross Volkmer has you covered with all the action. Join him for live broadcast on Goodland's Rocket 1025, your front row seat to the Cowboys and Cowgirls. Select games video streamed on the Goodland Voice. GHS athletics this season are made possible in part by
Dan Brenner Ford, Coons Russell Funeral Home, Med Enterprises LLC, The Schooler Company, M&M Supply, and Rains Chiropractic.
Even though your attention has turned back to school with events and activities, you just can't forget everything going on at home. That's where your local Hoover Lumber Ace hardware stores in Goodland and Colby come in. Keep the lawn in check with mowers, blowers, and trimmers from Craftsman, Toro, and Ego. They are still your local Benjamin Moore paint retailer, and they still have that amazing selection of outdoor grills and griddles from Traeger, Weber, and Blackstone. Plus, their helpful and knowledgeable staffs are some of the best in the Northwest. It's all at Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby. Open every day but Sunday.
When it comes to the great outdoors, the Ford Bronco has what it takes. Be ready and make the trails yours with the Ford Bronco, now at Dan Brenner Ford. Feel the power as you enjoy driving the Bronco. All the confidence and safety you need. The Ford Bronco, on-road or off-road, now at Dan Brenner Ford, north of the Highway 27 overpass in Goodland.
Dan Brenner Ford, the right car, right truck, right now.
You ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4!
It's the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
Give me my cane. I'll show you how to play this game.
The region's only local sports talk.
Dynamite drop-in at broadcast school has really paid off.
Broadcasting on Goodland's Rocket 1025, simulcasting on Goodland's 730 Gold KLOE.
Guy is everywhere.
Discussing it all from the preps.
Touchdown, the Cowboys!
To the pros.
And Timmy back on the track. It's out of here. Bobby Witt Jr. delivers a go-ahead grand slam.
The Blitz is presented by Pearl Chevrolet GMC, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, and F&B Bank, as well as the Insurance Agency, Farmer State Bank in Oakley, the Cowboy Corner Express, and Equity Bank of Hoxie, Quinter, and Grinnell.
Let's go to work. It's a no-doubt shot. Upper deck, 2-0.
It's going to be Salter keeping it. Salter, a fake. Salter in the end zone. Liberty strikes first in overtime. It's Lexington Joseph. No, but blown up. Ball is loose. Liberty wins the game on the hit in the sack.
On an 0-2 pitch, a missile. Fernando Tatis Jr. Electric. Kesselring carries it across. Drops one. Shot. Score! Dylan Gunther lights the lamp. Utah on the board first. Their first ever goal by number 11.
Hey, good Wednesday morning, everybody. We are rolling along here on the Morning Blitz. At least it's a better start than yesterday. Some technical difficulties. Didn't allow the show to get going on time, but that's all right. We are rolling here on a Wednesday, October the 9th. A beautiful 54 degrees outside, no wind. Sun slowly starting to come up. Gonna be a sunny 85 today. We continue to have these summer-like weather days going on out around the listening area. So I guess enjoy those if you like the warmer weather. And if you're like me and you're still looking for fall, I guess you kind of get a little feel of it in the morning and a little bit of it at night at this point in time, but still warmer temperatures throughout the day. And looking that way, I do think we're going to see a little bit cooler temps, not a lot, but a little bit cooler temps come up here over the weekend. And then actually you go into next week, then we're starting to see more like fall-like temperature. Actually, get past Saturday of 82. You've got Sunday dropping all the way down to 69. And then you've got temperatures in the, believe it or not, upper 50s to mid 60s, looking for the early part of next week at this time. So yeah, that's what we're looking at. So maybe fall is actually just around the corner. It's just, I don't know, 3 weeks later than expected, but that's all right. We'll make do. So glad you could join us here on the Morning Blitz, no matter which way you are listening, whether it's Goodland's Rocket 1025 on the simulcast on 730 Gold KLOE. We're also available, of course, nwksradio.net and on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter with the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream. Today's show, we're going to visit with Head coach of the unbeaten Hoxie Indians, that is Lance Barr. He will stop by the program. We'll visit with Lance about the great season that his Indian team is having at this point in time. We will also look ahead to, or we'll also talk a little bit about a news that came out yesterday regarding the Colorado Rockies and Bud Black being brought back despite back-to-back 100-loss seasons. We'll touch on some local sports as well here in this edition of the Morning Blitz. Last night, an exciting night in Major League Baseball's postseason. Dodgers starting pitching proving to be a problem for them. Not able to slow all the momentum and the atmosphere and the big hits that San Diego had last night in a 6-5 game. Entertaining, at least early. You know, Mookie Betts gets a solo shot in the first, and in the bottom of the second, it's a 6-run explosion by San Diego to put themselves up 6-1. A grand slam by Teoscar Hernandez a few innings later. Actually, that might have just been in the third. But all of a sudden makes it a 6-5 game. We're thinking, boy, we're in for one heck of a game tonight. Actually ends up being just that score the rest of the way. The San Diego bullpen keeps it together, and the Padres take a 2-1 lead and put the Dodgers back against the wall, as they could, for the second consecutive year, could San Diego eliminate, for the second consecutive time, I should say, eliminate the Dodgers in the NLDS at this point in time. So, yeah, it was a good performance there for San Diego. Also last night, the Mets take a 2-1 lead on the Phillies. Sean Manaea was great. 7 innings, 3 hits, just 1 run. He was very good on the bump for the Mets, keeping especially that very potent Phillies offense held down. But they win 7-2 last night there at, well, what is it? Citi Field. There was going to say Chase Field. That's all right. It's Citi Field. But Pete Alonso continued his great postseason. Had another home run in the second. That's his second one here in the postseason. But yeah, a great showing from Sean Manaea for sure to get it done for the New York Mets. 7-2 over the Phillies. They take a 2-1 series lead. Remember, this is a best of 5. These are best of 5 series. So that means that once again, they all play tonight. So there's 4 games tonight in Major League Baseball's postseason. I'll pull up that schedule for you here. There's 4 games tonight. It all gets going with Cleveland and Detroit, which is still tied a game apiece. And then you have Philadelphia at New York. Once again, if you are Philadelphia, you have to win or it's over. Mets win, they advance on. Also tonight, you've got game 3 of the ALDS between the Yankees and the Royals. This will be at Kauffman Stadium. That is a 6 o'clock Central Time first pitch, which you can hear on AM 790 KXXX. You can also watch it on TBS if you'd like. And then the nightcap will be the Dodgers at the Padres. Same thing as Philadelphia, New York. Dodgers lose, it's over for them. And all that great potent offense and money being spent is not enough to beat the Padres, who have spent a decent amount of money themselves, to be completely honest with you. So, yeah. Oh, listener Andy chiming in on the FE Bank text line said, make sure you wear your earplugs if you're watching the Royals, meaning Bob Costas, probably on the call for that. So don't listen to Bob. I heard a lot about it on other sports talk radio shows yesterday, and deservedly so. Bob Costas was not a good move. Not a good move by him and his bad call and calling that game last night, showing disappointment for the Royals to have success. But we'll see. Royals 2 wins away from knocking out the Yankees. God, I think they're probably going to do it, right? I don't know why they wouldn't. They've got Lugo on the mound tonight. You got to feel really good with him on the bump, even though the last time, I don't think was it the last time he didn't pitch great? No, I'm thinking of Reagan's last time. But nonetheless, you got to feel good about the Royals tonight. They're at home. That crowd's going to be electric. Lugo's on the mound. The Yankees offense just hasn't been as potent. Once again, Aaron Judge showing that he cannot really hit the ball great in the postseason. He's phenomenal in the regular season, cannot do it in the postseason. So I guess there's all that to look at. And I don't know. I just, like I said, I don't trust, like, the big time like everybody wants to see in the big markets, and Major League Baseball wants to see the Dodgers and the Yankees. That's what everybody wants to see, because that's going to draw the most eyeballs. Because you're going to have the biggest markets. That's what they want. To me, you've got 2 teams right there that have average starting pitching staffs overall. and decently above average bullpens. Maybe if you're Dodgers, the Yankees are not that great. I don't think in the bullpen. Those teams are built on offense. And if they can't get the offensive production that they got in the regular season right now in the postseason, it's not going to matter. They're not going to make it. Pitching is what wins in the postseason. You've got to have good pitching, particularly great. You can do it anyway. Whether you've got great starting pitching, and then you can go out there and throw for 6 or 7 innings, but you have to have a great back end of the bullpen, or you have to have a great bullpen in its entirety. If you want to throw a starter out there for 4 innings and then throw a few other guys, you have to have good pitching to keep these bats at bay. Right now, the Royals have some of the best pitching out there. That's why you have to feel good about them. You have to have good pitching, or you got to be hot. And to me, the 2 hottest teams right now are the Mets and the Tigers. The Padres are up there too, though. I will give them credit that they're playing really good baseball too. So we'll see tonight. Seth Lugo, Clark Schmidt, the pitching matchup tonight for the Royals and the Yankees. That is a 6 o'clock, just past 6 o'clock Central Time, 5 o'clock Mountain Time, first pitch on TBS, and also, of course, on your home for the Royals, AM 790, KXXX. Little postseason baseball update for you there. All right, it is Wednesday, and before we get to Lance Barr of Hoxie High School football and the unbeaten Indians, the number 1 ranked team in Class 1A D1, we have to get to, of course, the college football Power 5. And boy, what a week it is in college football. But Wednesday means college football Power 5, and let's dive in. What a slate of games. My goodness. This is the week that people have been waiting for. I can go back and remember listening to other people talk about the college football season coming up here, and people said, boy, take a look at that week number. I think it's week 7, I think, in the college football. I think it's week number 7. Yes, week 7 slate. Look at that week 7 slate. And boy, howdy, that is a dandy of a slate. And sometimes that can change, and there were some pieces that have moved around to maybe not look as amazing as it is. But there are still a great slate of games. With that being, some teams moving out, some teams have moved in to make it really good. Overall, it is the best slate of the season to this point. I want to start with an honorable mention game, and there are lots of them, but one that I think is intriguing. In the ACC, a new ACC matchup, the unbeaten and 22nd ranked Panthers of Pitt host the Golden Bears of Cal, who are coming off a bad loss. They are licking their wounds after they led Miami big and late, but the Canes come back and steal it in Berkeley while all of us were practically sleeping. So Cal is 3-2. They're trying to bounce back from an 0-2 conference start. You got Pitt there at the top. It's a long road trip across the country, pretty much, for California, and that plays in the favor of Pittsburgh, in my personal opinion. Going to play in the favor of them. But Cal has proven to go on the road and win big games. They did it at Auburn earlier this season. They did lose at Florida State. Once again, a long road trip. It was the first one, too. What did they learn from that? Meanwhile, Pitt, they've beat the likes of West Virginia, who's not a terrible team, and North Carolina, who can score some points. Past that, maybe not tested that greatly. This game should be a good one. This will be on ESPN at 2:30 Central, 1:30 Mountain Time on Saturday. Cal at Pitt. My honorable mention game right now. Pittsburgh, a 3-point favorite. Cal's going to play great defense. They've lost the last 2 games against Florida State and Miami by a combined 6 points. And they have one of the better defenses in the country. Can they slow down Eli Holstein and that quarter and the offense for Pittsburgh? That'll be the question. I think Cal's defense will be good. They'll keep Cal in this game, and they might be able to steal one on the road. We'll find out. That is my honorable mention game. All right, on to the top 5.
Number 5.
I'm going SEC. A lot of people would probably put this game higher. But you got number 9, Ole Miss, visiting Death Valley, the 13th ranked Tigers of LSU. Ole Miss has proven, at least before they got into conference play, that they can score a ton of points. In fact, one of the highest scoring offenses in college football is Ole Miss. And Jackson Dart has already thrown for over 2,000 yards with 13 touchdowns and just 2 picks. But behind him is Garrett Nussmeier, quarterback for LSU, who's quietly had a good season. 15 touchdowns and 4 picks for him. The difference is Ole Miss runs the ball very well, too. Their running back, Parrish, has 570 yards and 9 scores. They're coming off a pretty convincing win on the road at South Carolina. They got to go to a very, very difficult place to play, one of the top 5 hardest places to play in the country in LSU. And it's going to be at night. 6:30 Central, 5:30 Mountain Time. Ole Miss is still favored by 3.5 going into this game on the road. I do believe they are the better team, but I always love to know, how can a home crowd impact a football game? And we're going to see if the LSU Tiger crowd can do that. They probably will. This will be a really good football game. The over-under 63.5 points. Could see more points than that. Could see less. Like I said, I don't know really what to expect in this game, but I do expect it to be a good game between Ole Miss and LSU. Number 5 on my college football Power 5.
Number 4.
Moving up, we're going to the Red River rivalry or shootout. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. It's the rivalry now. It used to be shootout, rivalry. The Texas Longhorns and the Oklahoma Sooners playing at the Cotton Bowl at the Texas State Fair there in Dallas. Look, this game... And on the spread says Texas is going to win by 2 scores. Texas has the better football team. There is no doubt about it. They are no doubt the better football team. Oklahoma has gone away from their starting quarterback they started the year with. They're going with the freshman who's a little bit more athletic at the quarterback spot. But styles make fights. Texas, high offensive team. Oklahoma is a great defensive team led by Brett Venables, great defensive coordinator. This game here, we all know, we've watched many episodes of this rivalry over the years. It doesn't always matter who is the best and who is not. It comes down to who makes the plays down the stretch to win these games, because they're usually always close. This 14-point spread's got to be one of the largest spreads in some time in this rivalry. I still think Oklahoma probably covers and keeps it close. Texas still wins. Way, way more talent on the Texas side, especially offensively, that I don't think Oklahoma's going to be able to corral as good. But because it's a rivalry game, I think Oklahoma covers it, maybe only loses by 10 or 12 points. But still, in the scheme of things in this rivalry, that would be quite a blowout. Texas, Oklahoma, number 4 on the college football Power 5 here in Week 7.
Number 3.
Going out west for a new Big Ten matchup. The USC Trojans hosting the Penn State Nittany Lions. This game to me is fascinating because of, once again, the travel. We talked about Cal going to Pittsburgh. How about Penn State pretty much trading them and going to USC? It's like 2 flights passing each other on the way and going to pretty much the same exact destinations to an extent. Penn State, so far, 5 wins in 5 attempts. Drew Aller is nothing special, 1,000 yards, but just 9 touchdowns. But here's the thing. Only 1 pick at this point in time. That's good. Miller Moss has proven to be a pretty good quarterback, replacing Caleb Williams. The problem is the defense has struggled to get stops because they're just not built for the Big Ten yet at this point in time. They probably will get there. They're learning. All the new Big Ten schools, except maybe Oregon, but they might find out more this weekend. More on that in a minute. Are finding out that you got to have big guys in the lines, offensive and defense, and particular defensively if you're going to slow down Big Ten rushing attacks. Penn State has not 1 but 2 very good backs, led by Nick Singleton, who has over 400 yards and 3 touchdowns. They got 2 guys that can tote the rock, and they're going to run the ball right at you. I can guarantee you that. But this game here is intriguing because USC is struggling. Penn State is unbeaten. Penn State is a 4-point favorite. But I think the Trojans get it done. It's the long road trip to Southern Cal that I think Penn State, even though they're leaving Thursday to try and battle that, and I think that's good, I think that could hurt them. And USC is desperate. 2 losses. They have to find a way to win. You know, the stat of this morning is the stat of head coach Lincoln Riley for USC. 5-7 in his last 12 football games. 5-7. Not a great look for Lincoln Riley. USC needs this game desperately, and a top 4 win would certainly boost their spirits. And I think Penn State is a team that could get knocked off because of it. Fascinating game between Penn State and USC. I think it's close, I think the Trojans can win, but I also wouldn't be surprised if Penn State just runs the ball at them constantly and bulldozes them and buries them, gets them disappointed, and late in the game they find a way to win. But something about the road trip and USC being at home with their backs against the wall makes me think the Trojans can get this done. All right, on to
number 2.
Well, we're sticking very close to home for this one. Just down I-70 in Boulder, the Colorado Buffaloes take on the Kansas State Wildcats. Already a lot of trash talking I see from our friends at Go Power Cat, talking about how Colorado is not a good team. They haven't been tested, so on and so forth. I wouldn't just be talking a lot of trash if I was Kansas State. You went on the road, out into the mountains, played it late night, and got your tail whipped by BYU. I'm not sitting here going to say that Colorado's going to beat K-State, but I do think this. I think that environment is going to be hostile, very hostile towards the Purple fans. Guarantee it. And there'll be a good amount of Purple fans there, too. I tell you what, my brother-in-law has been looking to trying to get tickets to go to the game, and they are expensive as all get out. Very expensive tickets. And over $250 a pop to go watch this game. It's going to be a great environment. It's going to be a hostile place. What has Avery Johnson learned from that first time playing out west late at night in a hostile environment? That's put to the test. Colorado's defense is improved. They have playmakers on offense and maybe the best quarterback in the Big 12. Maybe. Chris Kleiman thinks he should be the number 1 quarterback taken in the draft this upcoming year. Said that in his weekly presser. K-State's got a good defense. They'll find a way to get some stops, but Colorado's going to score some points. So Kansas State better hope they can score some points. That's what they better hope for. And so you better hope that Avery Johnson protects the football and does that. Look, I think Avery Johnson is going to be a great quarterback by the time his career is done. This year, though, he's going to take some lumps. This might be another one. I don't know. Right now, Kansas State a 4-point favorite on the road. I think the environment, I think the playmakers that Colorado possesses are going to give Kansas State fits. If the Wildcats can run the ball at Colorado, which Colorado has proven to stop the run. They faced a couple of teams that wanted to run the ball right at them in North Dakota State as well as Nebraska, and they did a pretty good job of slowing them down. So it's going to come down to Avery Johnson, and can he make plays against a really good secondary? We're going to find out. I mean, if Kansas State get the run game going, it changes it a lot. But if they can't, and the pressure falls on young Avery Johnson, I'm intrigued. This game already is highly intriguing, but that really will get me going. So right now, actually, open spread at 4. It's now 5.5. Kansas State. Still think this is going to be a dandy of a game. Kansas State, Colorado. The Buffs are wanting a really big win. They're in. They get to 5-1. All of a sudden, they're thinking their season's changing big time, and they can take control of their own destiny. They'd be 3-0 in the Big 12 if Colorado gets the win. K-State needs this win to kind of get back into the upper echelon race. But Kansas State, Colorado, number 2 on my College Football Power 5. It's going to be a dandy of a game.
Number 1.
But number 1, it's the game that a lot of fans of college football have circled all season long. People thought that this game would be big when it came to the college football playoff. Well, it certainly is big in the Big 10 football race. Oregon at home hosting Ohio State. It is a top 3 matchup. The last time these two teams met, what was it in? They're in Ohio State in Columbus. Remember, it was a crazy win for Mario Cristobal and Oregon over Ohio State. That was nuts to see that win. Autzen Stadium at night. This is an evening kickoff at, well, I guess what would be 4:30 Pacific, but so late afternoon kickoff. That place can get a little ruckus. Ohio State is no doubt, I think, the more talented team, which is why they are a 3.5-point favorite. But Dylan Gabriel's played in big games. He's got playmakers around him. Oregon's special teams are pretty good. They know how to they've done a lot of damage in returning punts and kicks. I don't know. This game, I think, could be very, very good. We could see a good. Oregon's defense is good, too. That's the other thing. Dan Lanning has brought a defensive flavor to Oregon because of his past being the DC at Georgia. I think this Oregon game, this Oregon team plays good defense and special teams. Their offense can put up points, even though at times it's been a little lackluster. I think their defense keeps them in the game. Ohio State probably has a little bit too much in the end. totality-wise, in total talent in all three phases of the game. But this game's going to be a fourth quarter game, and that's what makes it the number one game in my college football Power 5 this weekend. So there you go. Ohio State, Oregon. Ohio State, a 3.5-point favorite. I think it comes down to the very end. I think it does. A very, very good football game. And one of those teams is going to go home unbeaten and leave Indiana and the winner of this game at the top of the Big Ten. Who would have predicted Indiana would be there? There you go. The college football Power 5 here in week number 7 of the college football season. Once again, my honorable mention game, Cal going to Pitt. Number 5, you've got Ole Miss, LSU. Number 4, the Red River rivalry between Texas and Oklahoma. Penn State at USC at number 3. Kansas State, Colorado at 2. And Ohio State, Oregon, number 1 in the college football Power 5. The top 5 games I've got my eye on here this week in what is going to be, I would expect, a really good college football weekend. Now, once again, last week I said this is not going to be a good week. It won't be a good week of college football. I'm sorry to say that, but it just won't be a good week. I was completely wrong. It was a fantastic week of college football. Absolutely fantastic. Well, hopefully this weekend will live up to the billing. Hopefully will. Oh, it's off to a great start. Last night, Liberty in overtime over FIU, the Fighting Pit Bulls. I know they're the Panthers, but I think they're pretty much owned by Pitbull, the rap artist. Anyway, he's paid for their stadium and stuff and NIL sponsorship. Nonetheless, it was an overtime win for the Liberty Flames over FIU last night. So it was already off to a great week and an overtime win. So we'll see what happens the rest of this week. But I think it's going to be a dandy one. And there's a lot of games. It's one of those you need multiple TV setups to watch multiple games this Saturday. There you go. The College Football Power 5 for week number 7. Okay, let's get to a timeout when we come back. We have plenty more to get to in today's show. We'll talk Bud Black a little bit later on in the show as he is back after back-to-back 100-loss seasons. But up next, we talk with the head coach of the number 1 ranked team in Class 1A D1 football. That would be the Hoxie Indians head coach, Lance Barr. He joins us next on the Morning Blitz here on a Wednesday.
If you take electric or natural gas service from Midwest Energy, you're a co-op member. Midwest Energy is holding its annual meeting of members on Monday, October 21st, 10 a.m. at the Hilton Garden Inn in Hayes. Join us for a short meeting and maybe win one of several great door prizes. Again, that's the Midwest Energy annual meeting, Monday, October 21st, 10 a.m. at the Hilton Garden Inn in Hayes. Midwest Energy, a customer-owned cooperative making energy work for you.
It's time for a check of the markets with the Anderson Trade Group on the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network.
Good morning, this is Kate Thompson with the Anderson Trade Group. Today is Wednesday, October 9th. And on the overnights last night, December corn traded higher 2 cents at 4.22 3/4, March up 2 cents at 4.40 1/4, May up 2 at 4.49 1/2, and July corn up 2 cents at 4.55 1/4. November soybeans up 2 cents in the overnight at 10.18 1/4, January up 2 1/2 at 10.37, March up 2 3/4 at 10.52, and May up 2 3/4 at 10.66 1/2. Chicago wheat, the December contract up 7 1/2 at 6.02 1/4, March up 7 1/2 at 6.25 3/4, May up 7 1/2 at 6.38 3/4, and July up 7 1/2 at 6.46. Kansas City wheat, the December contract higher 6 3/4 at 6.10 1/2, March up 6 1/2 at 6.26 3/4, May up 7 at 6.37 3/4, and July up 6 1/2 at 6.44 even. On the stock market this morning, the Dow down 22 at 42,353, the S&P down 3 at 5,797, NASDAQ down 29 at 20,269, gold up $1.40 an ounce at 2,636, and crude oil down 38 cents a barrel at 73.19. If you have any questions about marketing grain or would like to talk about Gauche at 913-748-3000.
The Anderson Trade Group, proud market partners with Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio. Find out more at andersongrain.com. The risk of loss through trading futures and or options is substantial, and each investor and or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated, is not indicative of future results. The Anderson Trade Group has no guarantee that the advice given will result in profitable trades.
When challenging conditions arise, we don't back down. We up our game. Outpacing the competition with innovations fueled by Bayer's R&D. keeping you equipped with an expanded portfolio, elite genetics, and additional local test plots. Channel leads the field, so you can rise above. See how you can save at channel.com/finance24. Read and follow pesticide label directions, grain marketing, and other stewardship practices.
Out here, we raise stronger people, stronger crops, and we proudly raise our flag to that. Let the weather, pests, and pressures try to beat us down. We only keep growing up. With the next-gen genetics, the pure acre-for-acre know-how of these soils, and a deep pride of our roots, we're born to raise. At Hogemeyer. Learn more at therightseed.com.
Fall is here, and it's the perfect time to fall in love with your smile. At Cornerstone Orthodontics, we're excited to help you achieve the smile you've always wanted. Whether you're looking for traditional braces or clear aligners, our team is here to provide personalized care with a smile. Schedule your complimentary consultation now and let us help you step into autumn with confidence and a radiant smile. Visit cornerstoneorthodontics.com. with offices in Hayes, Colby, and Great Bend.
You're tuned in to the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
That broadcast school has really paid off.
Boy, some interesting news coming in during the last 15 minutes out of the NCAA. A lot of pieces are always moving in college athletics. And news coming down that the NCAA is eliminating the national letter of intent. So no longer will you sign a national letter of intent. Instead, financial aid and scholarship agreements are expected to be used. We're getting closer and closer to contracts. Simple as that. We're getting closer and closer to contracts. You know, you sign this contract, you get this amount of money to come to this school, and hopefully you'll go to class. Something like that is what it kind of is looking like at this point in time. Coming up, we'll get to Bud Black real quickly as we get to the back end of the show. We go to the Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware Hotline. We're pleased to be joined by our good friend of the program and the head coach of the #1 team in Class 1A D1 football. That is the Hoxie Indians, Lance Barr, who joins us now. Boy, Coach, we talked to you right before the Osborne game, and I know you'd said something about that Osborne game was going to be a stiff test for you. You guys pulled that out, and you guys have taken care of business since then. How would you grade the first 5 games of this season for your team?
Yeah, I think defensively and special teams we're doing very well. They're putting our offense in really good positions. Especially this last week against Overland, against Ellis, our defense special teams played extremely well. Offensively this last week, I felt like things are coming together a little bit better. We're doing better up front within our schemes and things. We're hitting our pass concepts better, adding a little bit of quick game and things like that to help. But early in the season, our passing was we just weren't hitting on a lot of them. Our passing percentage was low, so this last week we brought that up. Changed some things up, making it easier on our quarterback. So, we just need our special teams and defense to continue what they're doing and continue to make improvements on the offensive side of the ball. And that's kind of been our motto, since week 1.
Coach, you talked about the defense. The 14 points you gave up against Osborne in the season opener is the most you gave up in any game so far this season. Why is the defense so effective through these first few games?
I think it starts with who we return on defense. We return basically our whole front. We're replacing two guys on our defense. So that experience and them guys just playing together for such a long amount of time, I think that's part of it. And it doesn't help that. It does help that we have Easton Nicholson, who's coming in there and just kind of just been a ball hawk on defense for us. Through those first 3 games, I think he was averaging about 20 tackles. So he's kind of just everywhere making plays for us. So that's been huge. And then really where our defense excels in run defense. And I feel like our front 5, front 6 guys do a really good job getting their run fits and just doing their job.
Being +8 in the turnover margin doesn't hurt either, does it?
Yeah, that's huge. Like I said, our field position, especially last week, was crazy good. Like we had the ball on our side of the field the entire time. So that's always huge for our offense, putting us in good positions and giving us opportunities to score on from short distances.
Visiting with the head coach of the Hoxie Indian football team here on the Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware Hotline. That would be head coach Lance Barr joining us here on the Morning Blitz. You mentioned early in our conversation, or just a few moments ago, you were talking about how, looking to get the pass game going a little bit more. How comforting has it been, though, to know that when the pass game isn't operating at the same level you'd like it to, your running game has been there, though?
Yeah, I think within the running game, I think a lot of our success is going to come with our offensive line gelling. We replaced all three of our interior linemen this year. Our seniors who graduated all started last year, so we have some upperclassmen in those positions, but guys that not necessarily have played together a whole lot, and not on Friday nights. So those guys, we've been rotating, 5 guys through those 3 spots, and they're all doing a good job for us. And we're just continuing to look to improve, within our schemes, our combos, and just zone blocking when we move to that next level, and when we stay on a double team, and just things like that require repetition. So, the more those guys play together, the better our running game is going to get. And, it's going to help as Braden Sheets, our running back, suffered a ankle injury, before our week 1 game. He didn't even play in that week 1 game, but getting him back to, closer to full strength is going to help that run game as well.
Visiting with head coach Lance Barr, the Hoxie Indians here on the Morning Blitz. Your senior quarterback, Duncan Bell, so far 11 touchdowns and 4 picks throwing it. And, of course, he's also ran for close to almost 30 yards a game and 5 scores. How have you liked how he has handled the operation of this offense? And also, how much has he improved from previous year to this year, now being a senior and all that experience under his belt?
Yeah, I think we went back to some stuff that we did more with him this last week, which helped our completion percentage. Early in the season, with what we were doing, we were running a lot more concept oriented offensive passing game stuff, where he has to go through some reads and read the defense and understand kind of what they're in a little bit more than quick game type stuff. So we're going to implement a little bit more of that quick game to help him in that stuff, but while also trying to run those concepts and get him more comfortable with just finding that open receiver and making a good pass, good play to him. But with his experience, we ask more of him. His job gets tougher. So, he's been handling it. And I think early on, maybe we threw a little bit too much at him. But he understands the concepts. He understands the routes. It's just a matter of knowing which one's going to come open and making his reads and getting through them and releasing the ball in a on time. He got caught holding the ball a little bit too much. And another area where we need to improve, we need to give him a little bit more time, So we've struggled with, blitzes and just pressures that we've got, and picking those up to give him enough time to do the things that we're asking him to do. So once we can get those done, give him a little bit extra time, that percentage is going to go up, and those yards are going to go up. So I'm looking forward to when that happens. It's hard to be patient as a coach. You just want those things all to happen right now, but it's part of a process, and you just got to be patient and make sure all those things come together when they need to here at the end of the season.
Well, you talk about him and his getting the ball out on time and stuff. He's got a lot of mouths to feed. There's a lot of guys that can take the ball and do a lot of good things with it on this team, it seems like.
Yeah, for sure. Early in the season, I think Sam Watkins was kind of the main beneficiary of catching some deep balls and and scoring touchdowns along with Braxton Monk. And this last week, we hit opposite of Sam with Trent Fenner, got a couple touchdowns, touchdown receptions. So, you still got Braden Sheets in there, and I mean we got 5 or 6 guys that can do things with the ball in their hands. So it's nice to have those guys, and it's sometimes difficult for me as coach to get those guys in the right positions, and with personnel groupings and things. And sometimes we have Trent standing on the sideline while Braxton's in there, or vice versa. Same thing with Nicholson, just with different groupings and trying to get those guys in the best positions to go out there and make plays and do what they do best. So yeah, it's fun to have that many guys, but it's also challenging to make sure you're putting them in the right positions and allowing them to get on the field and make plays for you.
Lance Barr's our guest, Hoxie High School head football coach. You've been doing this a long time, Coach. I mean, is this one of the more deepest offensive teams that you've had in your tenure?
Yeah, I think it probably is. Typically you're either deep at your skill positions or you're deep at your offensive line. It's usually never both. So we're deep with skill positions, and we're pretty deep with our offensive line, as I mentioned. But I wouldn't mind having another solid running back. That's for sure.
Can't get too nitpicky, Coach. Not with that 5-0 record at this point in time. We're visiting with Lance Barr.
Yeah. Well, when Braden was hurt those times, it was we had Braxton who came in there and did a great job for us, but he's a much smaller kid than Braden. I think there's probably 35, 40-pound difference between those two guys. But he's good in his own right and in his own area. He's very shifty. But it would have been nice to have somebody that's a little bit bigger that could run in between the tight ends. But like you said, we can't be nitpicky.
He wants a bruiser. He needs a bruiser. Look for the transfer portal, Coach. That's where you need to go. Go to the transfer portal. Hoxie and football coach Lance Barr. We talked about how dominant you guys have been through these first 5 games, but the thing is, you've played some pretty good teams. I mean, Decatur Community has a pretty good, one of their better seasons in a long time. You guys took care of them last week. A couple weeks ago, you guys took care of a pretty solid Ellis program. And of course, the Osborne game. You've faced some good teams and still have won pretty handily.
Yeah, and I'm glad that we have faced those good teams, and sometimes especially this last week, I'm not sure the scoreboard really shows how good of a team Oberlin is. They have some quality games as well that they've played. They played Dighton very tough, and going into the game, we knew they were going to be tough, and they did not disappoint. I thought they played really well. They had some mishaps in special teams and gave us some really good field position with some botched punts, and we had a blocked punt. Those things go a little bit differently. It makes it harder on us to move down the field and get points. But I think they're going to do some good things within our district, and it doesn't really get any easier for us as I feel like our district is pretty tough. I think when district play started, we had us and then 3 or 4 teams that had 1 loss, if I remember right. So the district's doing well, and it's going to be a competitive district. I think it bodes well for us moving into the postseason.
And you have to like that as a coach, having those tough games and just get you ready, like you say, for the postseason.
Yeah, you do, and we're able to see, a little bit easier areas where we need to improve. Where are we struggling at, and you're going to see that much easier playing quality opponents than not quality opponents. So we have something that we're working on every week, and we're trying to get better. So I'm sure the other teams are the same way. So really, really excited about our district, not just us going into the postseason, but the rest of the district going into the postseason, and kind of how the rest of the season plays out, because there's going to be some really good games fighting for those spots to get into the postseason.
Head coach Lance Barr joining us on the Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware Hotline. A couple more for you here real quickly. You mentioned those things you're trying to improve on. What is the area you're trying to improve on at this point in time?
Yeah, I think like I said, our run game is doing well. I'm still still working on the offensive line, really trying to improve. It's been tough for us because unlike a lot of the years, we're seeing a different defensive front every week, which is more difficult on your offensive linemen. Things change. Defensive linemen. I mean, we go from 3, 4, two D linemen and different fronts and different pressures. So we just gotta understand how to pick all those up and refer to our rules and responsibilities within our scheme up front with the offensive line. So been working a lot with them, just trying to get them to understand. It doesn't really matter what the front is, but if you just think about your rules and go through your progressions for the offensive line, it's going to set you up and tell you who you're supposed to be blocking. So we're working on that. We're still working on, like I said, improving our passing percentage, and we had a lot of plays, against Osborne, against Ellis, even last week we had a couple, shot plays or just missed opportunities that we had for big plays, and just completing those at a higher rate and finding success and on those chunk plays when they show themselves to us. So just seeing it and making sure we make the play when it's available to us. And that's another thing. It's just going to take repetitions. And defensively, like I said, we've been doing really great in the run game. We gave up 2 big plays last week. Eliminating the big plays is always something that we want to do. So, staying tough in our run game, and then understanding situational football and when they're going to pass, and making sure we don't give up a big play in the air or on the ground. Just staying disciplined at all times.
Couple more quick ones for you. You guys took on Stockton here a couple weeks ago, had an easy win. You guys played a lot of underclassmen. How good is it to get those young guys in and get that varsity experience and have the success like they did? How does that benefit your program?
Yeah, I think it's great for those younger kids. They had an opportunity to go against a varsity team on a Friday night and find success doing it. So it gives them confidence, moving on, because a lot of those guys, are going to be starters next year. We graduate a lot of kids, so just getting them out there and giving them that experience on a Friday night is huge. And then to watch them on a Monday night and see how they play against other JV games, and then to see the difference. It's something about a Friday night, but they got in there on that Friday night against Stockton, and they looked like a different group of kids. It seemed like they just had an extra gear, a little bit of extra energy going out there. So I was proud to see that, and it was also exciting for our starters, on the sideline to cheer those guys on and allow them to get out there and have some fun, because through the week, especially now that JB is winding down, that we need those guys. We need those guys to give us good looks week in, week out at practice. So just to have those upperclassmen and starters cheer those guys on and show support for them was huge for our whole team.
Lance Barr on the Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware Hotline, Hawks Indian football coach. Final one for you. You talked about how good this district is going to be this year and how it has been. You get Hill City here on Friday. What do you know about the Ring Knicks?
Well, they've been putting up quite a bit of points in all their games, so it'll definitely be a challenge for our offense, or for our defense, I mean, and then defensively, they run that 2-4 defense for the most part, and it's something that we haven't seen this year. We don't see usually very often, so it's just another challenge that we have to face, and go through all that stuff and understand how to block it, and what kind of coverages they're in that defense and how to read it and things like that. So they do present some challenges, and they're an athletic team that's had a lot of success. they have a couple losses to quality teams, so they've been challenged as well. So it'll be a fun game.
Head coach of the Hawks Indians, Lance Barr, here on the Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware Hotline. Coach, thank you so much for the time. Appreciate it. Good luck this weekend and the upcoming rest of the season. All right, we'll catch up soon.
Okay, thank you.
Great stuff there again from Lance Barr, kind of for him to join us here this morning. Okay, let's get to a break. When we return, we will be joined. We will not be joined. We'll be changing gears and talking a little bit of Major League Baseball with the Colorado Rockies and the return of Bud Black for next season. You're listening to the Morning Blitz.
The one hail of a sale continues at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Get huge savings on not just lightly hailed on vehicles, but also ones that don't have hail or have had the hail fixed. How about a 2024 GMC Sierra 1500 SLE with hail up to $13,000 off when trading in an eligible vehicle, now only $49,000. A 24 Chevy Tahoe RST with hail up to $14,000 off, now just $58K. It's one hail of a sale, and it continues at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas, online at hurlchev.com.
If you're shopping for a banking institution, visit with Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, and Quinter, Kansas. The Equity Bank is heavily invested in local business and activities contributing in many ways back to their community. Their employees are involved with many organizations and area events. Plus, a lot of experience comes with that staff. You'll find valuable local assistance when you bank at the Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, Quinter, and other locations in Western Kansas. The Equity Bank, member FDIC.
The Farmers State Bank of Oakley has been financing agriculture since the day we opened our doors. Hello, this is Corbin, and we are proud to be your locally owned partner in ag. We invite you to come and visit with us when you need to purchase new or used farm equipment, or need any type of agriculture or business loan. We have the knowledge, experience, and financial resources to keep you growing. The Farmers State Bank of Oakley, a tradition of community and agriculture for over 115 years. Member FDIC.
From the locker room to your morning commute, it's all sports, all the time.
It's all they talk about.
This is the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
Before we get into Bud Black, yesterday, some other local sporting events happening. Colby Volleyball, a couple of wins on senior night. They sweep both Russell and St. Francis inside the event center. Colby now 22-5 on the season. St. Francis, by the way, winning their other match of the night over Russell 2-0. Indians are 15-11 this year in volleyball. Wallace kind of pick up 3 wins at their own try, beat the likes of Dighton, Greeley County, Quinter. Greeley County won their other 2 matches of the evening. And speaking of Quinter, another dominant performance at the Northwest Kansas League Cross Country Meet for Quinter. In Sharon Springs, both the boys and the girls teams won the title. The boys team was dominant. Picking up first place, they had 7 guys finish in the top 10. Hans Deaton was the first place finisher, but 7 guys in the top 10. Quinter girls had 4 girls in the top 10 to finish first, but it was Greeley County freshman Jalen Brandel who was the top finishing lady in the girls varsity race. Tonight, you have 8th-ranked Colby Community College volleyball starting up the second time through the GWAC. Might have been actually this past Saturday against Cloud. But anyway, we're into the second time through the through the Jayhawk Conference. And tonight, they host Butler, always a formidable opponent. But the Lady Trojans, once again, the 8th-ranked team in the nation. And before we get to the walk-off, Rockies made news that they are going to bring back Bud Black. They've extended his contract through the 2025. Despite back-to-back 100-loss seasons. GM Bill Schmidt says confidence in Bud Black and in the future of his team and the development of its young talent. Bud's been with the Rockies since 2017. He does hold the franchise record for wins with 537. He has made the postseason with the Rockies, although he did it pretty much in his first year in 2017 and 18. So I don't know. It's, to me, I saw someone quote, I saw multiple people quote this. It really wouldn't matter who was leading the Rockies these last couple 100-loss seasons. I love Dan Lucero, our good friend, said it could have been God himself, and it wouldn't have mattered if they would have made it. Who would have? I don't think they would have won many games. What they have, the Rockies just have so many holes in their lineup. They just have so many things they've got to get figured out. Whether it's developing more younger players, which they're doing that slowly but surely, at least in the field. Pitching is where they've got to get better. And injuries have not helped them in that department. But yeah, pitching and overall development of the entire roster, I think they're slowly doing it. I don't think the Rockies have drafted very good over the last few years, despite maybe, Ezekiel Tovar, but they especially have not drafted pitchers well. And so I don't think they've developed great, but they're doing it very, very slowly. By the way, other news besides Bud Black coming back, they did announce that bullpen coach Reed Cornelius and assistant hitting coach PJ, I think it's Pelletier, will not be returning this next season for the Rockies. So they're going to make some changes underneath Bud Black. But Bud has gone through the bad. It was the good when he got there, right when he got there. Now they're going through the bad, and they're hoping that he can maybe take them back to the good. We'll see. I don't know. The investment in Chris Bryant has been a complete bust. And so they've just made some bad moves when it comes to trying to bring players in, and development has been very slow. I don't think they've drafted really good either. So they really can't put that on Bud Black, but he's done a decent job. And I think probably Bud has done as good as he can with what he has in the cupboard year in and year out. Unfortunately, those are still back-to-back 100-loss seasons.
Three-run walk-off home run, a game-winning walk-off with a walk-off.
His second walk-off hit of the season.
In walk-off fashion, that baby's go.
Once again, it is a full night of baseball tonight. And really starting this afternoon, to be completely honest with you. It'll start today at 1 o'clock Mountain, 2 o'clock Central Time with Cleveland at Detroit. That series tied at a game apiece. You've got Philadelphia at New York following that at 3 Mountain, 4 Central Time. And then New York, Kansas City, the second to last game of the day at 6 o'clock Central, 5 Mountain Time on 790 KXXX and TBS. And then, of course, the nightcapper, the Dodgers at the Padres. But once again, reminder, Philadelphia, New York, and the San Diego, Los Angeles game. If New York and San Diego win, those series are over. They advance on into the NLCS. The AL on the other side are just game threes. Who can take the commanding 2-1 lead with wins today? Will it be the hot Detroit? Will Cleveland bounce back? Can Kansas City win 2 in a row? Boy, I think they would with Lugo on the mound. Well, we'll see. We'll see. That's coming up tonight in Major League Baseball's postseason. Of course, if you don't want to watch that, there is college football. 55 days of college football or football on your television set will continue. New Mexico State at Jacksonville State, if that entices you. All right, that'll do it for our program here today on a Wednesday. Thanks to Lance Barr. And, of course, thanks to you for tuning on in. We'll see you back here again tomorrow in 23 hours. It's been the Morning Blitz.